Whether you're working on music, a podcast, post-production, or really any kind of audio, RX is packed with tools that can help you quickly fix, enhance, and polish rough-sounding tracks ready for release. RX 11 is out now, and you can check it out at iZotope.com with a free 10-day trial to see what it's all about. Here are 10 features that will help save you time in your RX workflow. Did you know that you can go back through the history of your edits for small sections of your audio whilst leaving the rest untouched? Here I've been a little heavy-handed with the deep breath module. It's worked for 90% of the audio, but I could have been a little gentler on some of the words. Instead of undoing the whole pass of deep breath and altering the settings, I can leave that 90% the same and just undo the process for this one section. I'll select the portion of audio that I want to undo, head to history, and instead of going back a whole step, to the right of the process you'll see a small circle which will allow you to restore the audio to the previous state just for the selection. Once I click that, the unselected audio remains untouched, but whatever I had selected will go back a step to the previous state. This is great for when you're applying modules as a full pass to your audio, but just want to go in and fine-tune your edits to specific sections and can really save you some time. Did you know that you can feather your selection to make the edges softer when working on spectral edits? This is great when applying spectral edits on a frequency basis or a time basis. A great example of this is when restoring vinyl. You want to remove a lot of the noisy information with a tool like Deconstruct, which will separate the tonal information from the noise across the entirety of the audio file. A lot of the noise in this instance is going to be hiss, so I can use the frequency selection tool to grab anything that sits in the high end where the hiss is going to lie. Importantly, there's a cutoff where I've made my selection. Anything below this frequency is not going to be affected at all, which in some cases can be a little unnatural. By using feather, this will create a fade around the cutoff frequency to make it gentler and result in a more natural sound. This is also true for time-based work. Say you're zoning in on one of those in-between the script kind of sounds that you want to remove. You can use the feathering as a kind of fade in and out tool, so the transition is far smoother. Did you know that there are unique tools brand new to RX 11 that are designed specifically to help your music sound great on streaming platforms? I'm talking about Loudness Optimize and Streaming Preview. Now, there are a couple of videos already on the channel that really go into great depth on these modules. One that I created myself at the launch of RX 11 and one from renowned mastering engineer Dale Becker, where he shows you how he uses the modules to fine-tune chart-topping releases for streaming platforms. In a nutshell, Streaming Preview lets you know how your master will sound on these platforms, and Loudness Optimize makes sure it will sound as loud and punchy as other commercial releases once it gets there. Loudness Optimize addresses the limitations of the LUF standards. This is how loudness is measured for streaming platforms. By suggesting processing for quieter sections of your track and applying surgical upward compression, this will help you achieve lower LUFS values, which means streaming platforms won't turn your tracks down as much. It's kind of hard to fit the intricacies of it all into a video like this, so please go check out the deep dives and I'm sure you're going to love it. Once you have your track prepared using Loudness Optimize, Streaming Preview will tell you exactly how your tracks will sound on a range of different streaming platforms, so there are no nasty surprises on release day. Did you know that in RX you can work in mid-side mode, so you can zone in on just the parts of the stereo audio file that need attention and leave everything else untouched? This is going to be great for when you have mono information in your audio that needs processing differently than the stereo information, such as in a vocal stem. Maybe you've made an a cappella using Music Rebalance and there's just a bit too much reverb on the backing vocals out to the left and right, but the lead vocal in the center isn't presenting an issue. In this instance, you can use mid-side view and just apply the de-reverb processing to the side channel, which will rein in on the wide reverb but leave the center channel untouched. Did you know you can change the way you view audio within RX? I'm not just talking about waveform versus spectrogram, more about the channels you're working on. If you head up to the view menu, you'll see that by default, show channels separately is selected. If you have a stereo file that you're working on where you don't really care too much about the left and right information, just the track as a whole, you can uncheck that option to view the file as one. This will give you more real estate on your screen to really dig into the problem areas right away. Did you know that you can view multiple audio files as one to deal with the same issue that's present in a multi-mic setup? Let's say you're working on an acoustic guitar track and you need to remove some string squeak, but there are two mics and a DI that you just don't want to have to process separately. Just open all three in RX as usual, then to the right of the tabs you'll see three lines. If you click them, the three files will collapse down to one more manageable view. You can make your repair moves as usual, and you still have the three discrete files once you hit the three lines again to view them all separately, all with their own undo history. Did you know there's a Waveform stats module designed to give you insight into everything you need to know about your audio? With a huge amount of modules within RX, it's easy to miss some of the ones sitting down at the bottom of the list, so do yourself a favour, scroll down to the measurements section, open up Waveform stats, and let RX tell you everything you need to know about your audio. But it's more than that. If you see these little orange markers next to the boxes containing the measurements, you can click these and it will tell you exactly where whatever is being measured occurred. So for instance, if you click the marker next to true peak level, it will skip to the section in the audio where that occurs, so it will show you the loudest peak in your track. These are pieces of information that measure something momentary, so a peak level or a section that's clipping, anything that you can pinpoint in your track can be done here to give you an in-depth look at what's really going on. Did you know that in the export dialog you can be sure that your audio won't clip even when being exported to lossy formats? When exporting to MP3, for example, it's possible that you will experience peaks that weren't there in the full quality file. This is down to the encoding process when removing information. In the export dialog, there is a checkbox that allows you to prevent any clipping in two different ways, through normalization or through limiting. Normalization will scan the audio file, identify the loudest peak, and adjust the level of the file to make sure that the loudest section isn't clipping. Limiting will apply a limiter just below the point of clipping and not allow any audio to pass. Did you know that you can narrow down the list of modules in RX so you're only seeing what's applicable to the task at hand? With the plethora of tools available in RX, sometimes you just want a way to get straight to the tools you use for specific jobs. For this, you can use custom list filters. Let's say you have a few modules that you use day in, day out for a voiceover cleanup, and you want to have just those available to you. At the top of the module chains, you have some preset list filters to help you cut down the list a little. Dialogue and voice is going to narrow down the modules to just those applicable to that task, but you can also make your own. Go to the three lines to the right of the preset menu and select Add List Filter. From there you can check the modules you want to include in this list and it will hide the others that aren't applicable to the task. I'm going to create a new list called Acoustic Guitar and deselect anything that I don't want in the list. So for guitar, I probably won't be needing ambience match, breath control or center extract. Debleed and declick will probably be useful though, so I'll keep those ones in. Once I've made my selection, click done and everything else other than what you've selected will be hidden. This is a real space saver, especially if you're working on a laptop with a smaller screen, so everything is just right there for you. Did you know that you can set up custom hotkeys within RX to speed up your workflow? All you have to do is head to Preferences and Keyboard. There are several already available that you just need to assign. Some will already be set up for you. Apply Deplosive, for example, has an asterisk next to it, which when we select it, we'll see it's already set up to Command 5 on a Mac. So say you don't want to have to keep moving your mouse to the Apply button when you're working on deep breath. You want to be really precise in your work, so you've not opted for a full pass over the audio file, you want to dig in deep. Just select Apply Deep Breath, click once in the box under Press Shortcut Key and hit the key combination you want to use. Here I'm going for Ctrl and R. Then when I'm moving through my audio file, I don't need to continuously hit render within deep breath. I can just use the key command and get to the finish line even faster than before. I hope these 10 tips and tricks will help you navigate your way through RX even faster and easier than before. If you've got anything that helps your workflow that you think people need to know about, be sure to leave them down in the comments. I'll see you again soon. Take care.